Okay, magandang umaga. Medyo marami tayo biglang kakabalaan ngayon. Sama natin sa umagang ito sa ating Sports Corner PH interviews, isa sa mga inaangang sports leaders sa ating bansa. Napag sa labas, pero may pusong tumutulong, pusong mamon sa loob. Daughter, siya po ang Secretary General ng Muaythai Association of the Philippines. Currently, siya po ang Deputy CDM natin for Team Pilipinas sa SEA Games. Let's welcome Ms. Pearl Managuelod all the way from America. Good evening.
Hi, good morning, Gab, and good morning to the viewers of Sports Corner. Thank you for inviting me this morning para makapanayam kayo and so that we can talk about sports, our grassroots development, and of course, our shared love for the country.
Good morning again at salamat sa pagdalo sa ating session. Kumusta na kayo dyan sa Amerika while spending your time with your family overseas? Abalang take kayo sa mga activities na dinadaluan nyo as a map at nasa Deputy CDM ng ating team na SEA Games kasi nag-meeting din kayo last time with the CDMs.
Yes, that's right. So while I'm here, I'm also busy attending to the affairs of the association with their grassroots development and the preparation for the SEA Games, and also attending the CDM meetings by the VSGOC through Zoom. So it's still very busy even if I'm here. Actually, mas mahirap kasi I have to work during the nights to accommodate the time in the Philippines, and then I have to be awake in the morning and afternoon. But it's all good. Masaya naman.
Okay, let's go first dito sa usapang why kasi we all know since last year nakapag-training bubble na mga Philippine Muaythai team members sa Cordillera, sa Benguet. We see is the progress right now, medyo umaangat na sila. Gusto ang overall assessment sa trading with only about an half left before SEA Games based sa communication studio with your coaches like si Coach Precious?
Yes, so they have been busy since last year. So we were lucky enough to be granted a bubble training at BSU even during ng lockdown. And we were also lucky that we were able to participate at the World Championships last December. So meron ng exposure yung mga athletes natin sa Muay. So hindi na sila ganun kalawang kumbaga. So they have been preparing for a whole year. And they have been exposed. So we made sure that the SEA Games lineup were able to participate last December so that they have their tune-up games. Especially with Philip, he also had the professional fight in Dubai last July. So that was also a big help for him. So we're very confident with the training program that the athletes are undergoing right now.
Nakita natin na pinagbuo nila ang kanilang sama nila lalo na sa training. Hindi ba magkakasama sila na umabot sa bundok? Pero ba yung oras ay nilalaan sa training PSU para sa bubble? Masasabi ba natin na tumibay paglalo ang kanilang pagsasamaan sa bubble? May mga ilan na nakabase pa sa mga probinsya at ilan ay mga produkto ng Cordillera like si Islay.
Yeah, I believe yung bubble training mas naging close sila kasi talagang walang labasan yun eh. As compared to nung nasa ultra sila, you know, they can still go out, have their own lives. But here, they're really, their lives are intertwined. So from waking up to sleeping, every minute of the day they spend with each other. So I think that's also helpful for them kasi ngayon mas kilala na talaga nila yung strengths and weaknesses ng bawat isa which they can really use so that they can further develop their skills.
And of course, isa pang magandang mabubuting dulot nitong training ng Muay Thai, united sila kasi may mga Saturday sparring specials gaya na nabanggit natin sa last interview natin sa Sports Corner. Philippine Kickboxing at Bobinam team na target rin makamit ang ginto this coming SEA Games. How do we see this as an advantage para ma-enhance ang skills nila kahit yung nagkakaspar mismo, yung mga nakatangga rin na makakuha ng gold din na kung may fellow sport rin?
Yeah, you know what, Gab? We've always wanted not to partner with kickboxing and Team Lakay and other MMA sports and martial arts sports kasi kulang din yung nakakaspar ng mga national athletes natin. You know, so since they're already on top of their game, medyo nag-aalangan syempre yung ibang grassroots athletes to spar with them or you know, go up against them kasi syempre iba na yung skill level. So we're really grateful that we have this opportunity now with kickboxing and Wofinam and Team Lakay that they're all they have their Saturday trainings kasi talagang nagkakaroon ng game simulation, mas nahasa yung mga athletes natin, nakikita nila yung iba't ibang galaw, and they're able to apply the skills that they have learned, during the training week. So malaking tulong to, not just for us, of course, but also for the athletes of kickboxing in Vietnam. So sana tuloy-tuloy siya, even without the SEA Games. I hope we can continue doing that program.
Hindi mo na natin i-reveal yung lineup natin for now. Yeah. Pero yung ina-expect natin, magiging maganda yung showing for the gold medal. Ina-expect natin na makakasama natin ulit sila ay si Philip Dalamino na alam natin world champion sa 57 na men's sa IFMA World Championships. Asian champion din siya. Si Sly nga, nanalo ng silver sa combat pero nag-transition na siya from combat na siya sa women's wide crew or women's wide crew doubles.
That's right. So the medalists last World Championships, of course, sure line up sila for the SEA Games. Si Sly, since we don't have a combat event for her weight category at 45 kilos, and she performed really well. Yun nga, she won the gold in last December. So siya yung nilagay namin sa Y Crew, and we're lucky enough that through our grassroots development, our grassroots program, we were able to find a partner for her kasi double yung Y Crew natin sa Vietnam. So we're able to find another female with the same weight category and also very graceful like Isla, also very beautiful lady. So we partnered them and they're both training now in BSU. So from what I've gathered, from the updates of mga coaches, they work very well. Their synergy is very, very good. So we're very excited for that. For the rest of the lineup naman, of course, Philip. So we're very hopeful na he can defend his gold medal sa SEA Games, as well as the rest of the other athletes na nag-medal nung 2019 SEA Games. Sana ma-maintain natin yun.
And of course, meron din si Ayel Lampaka.
Yes.
And si Jenilyn Olsen na medals natin noon. Pero ang alam ko ay medyo nag-resign na siya for the national team para abala na siya doon sa studies. At maybe sa World Championship din.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that Jenilyn decided not to continue with her training with MAP. Yun nga, ang sabi niya sa amin, it's conflict with her studies. And of course, we respect that. Her priorities are her school right now. So that's okay. So we had to remove the 54 kilo female elite na category, and we had to replace that with another athlete na female sa 81 kilos naman, which is all we're very confident kasi this athlete has been training very hard and he has exposure in boxing, which also is a big advantage when it comes to Muaythai.
Pero may mga bago data kayo nakuha for the SEA Games lineup. Could you share with us ilan?
Yes. So new athletes natin sa lineup, we have one. Isasama ko yung sa Y Crew na babae. Around 4. We have 4 new athletes upcoming, but they're very talented athletes. So we're very confident in their skill level. We're not expecting them to really win up to the gold. Of course, that's our hope, no? Pero we don't want to add pressure to them. Basta alam namin na they can perform very well. And kahit umabot sa bronze, and we're already very happy with that.
Okay. Tama ba narinig ko? Magkakaroon ba kayo ng complete lockdown itong BSU na training ground ng ating Muaythai team? Ang target nyo ay end of April para i-maximize natin pag-aanda para makaiwas na rin sa COVID.
Actually, Gab, ever since naman we did the bubble training, medyo naka-lockdown sila. They're not allowed to go in and out unless there's a written consent by the management, and it has to be a valid reason. So ano ba yung valid reasons? Of course, kung may medical emergency, may family emergency, or may kailangan silang ayusin na papers sa school nila or sa work nila or sa PS. Yun lang naman yung pinapayagan namin sila. So we've always been in lockdown. Technically speaking, but yung sa April nga, we really plan na as in-house na lahat. Even the Team B athletes will also be in-house para talagang intense na yung last month natin in training. And also, of course, to keep them safe.
Okay. Bukod pa rito, may mga nakahandang tulong ang Philippine Sports Foundation at ang POC para sa sports massage, sports psychology,
yes,
at para mapalakas sa well-being nila physically, and also nakikipag-participate din sila sa mga anti-doping webinars, yung mga National Athletes Forum, at yung mga financial welfare na inihanda ng POC.
Yes, that's right. Hindi nagkulang ang support na binibigay ng PSC and POC. They, initiated the vaccine program for the athletes, yung booster program, and yung PSC, kahit nung lockdown, they've always had their services available online. So may sports psychologists pa rin yung lahat ng athletes. The nutritionists are very, very helpful. They're very diligent in making sure that the athletes have their meal plans and sinusundan nila yon. Also, the strength and conditioning coaches. Nakikita ko yung mga videos na pinapadala nila and kino-correct talaga nila yung bawat galaw ng athletes. So, alam mo, it didn't feel like may pandemic kasi tuloy-tuloy pa rin lahat ng services and support services na binibigay sa amin.
Okay, sa vaccination naman, nag-vaccinate na ba kayo ng booster lahat ng mga members ng team with the help of the local government, PSC?
Yes, so they're all vaccinated. Majority of them had their booster in BSU na, sa Baguio, Benguet na kasi dun sila nakabase.
Okay. Kailan ang alis nyo, yung tinatarget ninyong pag-alis nyo papuntang Anoy para SEA Games? Kakaroon ba sila ng parang yung dediretso muna sila sa Singapore tapos diretso na sila sa Vietnam?
Given the logistics kasi with the flights, since limited ng flights natin to Vietnam and wala atang direct flight as of the moment, so ang targeted alis ng Muaythai with other NSAs will be around May 10 or 12, around that time. And magkakaroon talaga ng layover either in Singapore or in another country kasi wala ng direct flight. So, which is also good for us kasi we'll have enough time to really acclimatize, get enough rest before mag-start yung competition.
Okay, sa projections naman tayo. Sa tingin nyo, gaano ba kataas ang chances na magkaginto o kahit yung mga podium finishes, silver, bronze this time around, kahit may mga ilang categories na natanggal at meron mga categories na malakas tayo, masasabi ba natin kaya nating dagdagan o ganun pa rin ang napalanunan natin nitong 2019 dito sa 2021 SEA Games?
Remember yung sinabi ni Karen in interview with Osapa, the Tops last week, we don't want to add more pressure to the athletes because I know that they're doing their best and they're really preparing mentally and physically for the SEA Games. Kami lang ang paalala namin sa kanila, practice, you always do your best. Once you're in the ring, you give it 110% and ayaw namin na bababa kayo ng ring na alam nyo hindi nyo binigay lahat. So, actually, at the start of every competition or every fight, sasabihin ko sa athletes na, ayaw kong may magsasorry after. Gusto ko pagbaba nyo sa ring, nakataas pa rin yung ulo nyo or, nakatungo pa rin kayo and that you can look me in the eye and say na, I did my best kahit na we did not get to win. So for the SEA Games, it's the same. We're hoping that we can maintain our medal standing in 2019 with the 3 golds, 4 silvers and 2 bronzes. Sana makuha natin ulit yon. But it's a sport and there's always that 50% chance that the opponent can dominate. So as long as they give their best, we're okay with that.
Sa World Games naman tayo, we have 2 representatives na mag-represent sa ating bansa. Si Philip na alam natin, nag-qualify siya to the World Championships. And then si Lee Bade, na nag-qualify naman siya through wild card. Una ako kay Lee this time kasi na-interview ko siya hours after this interview ninyo sa Sports on Air.
Nice.
Questions nyo when you saw Lee videos competing sa mga amateur flights? Let's say, undefeated pa rin siya.
Yeah.
Ito ba natin ang potential na, ayun na nga, part na siya ng national team?
Yes, we are actually met Lee here last week lang. We met in person for the first time and she is such a very great personality. Not just a great athlete, but also her personality matches her skills in Muaythai. So nung nakita namin yung videos, her dad sent the videos to me as recommended by Common. So I showed it to the coaches and nakita namin yung potential niya, even though she's only been training for a year. we can really see her dedication, her passion sa Muay Thai, and to have a 6-0 record, so undefeated siya, and she has 2 belts, I believe, under her under her competitions. It's very impressive, for somebody who's new. So we really want to expose her as much as we can. And we're already working on that. Kaya sa World Games, we're very excited that she was accepted as a wild card entry kasi alam naman namin that she can compete against the world's best.
Okay, kamusta na ang training ni Lee when you saw her? Ano ba ang sinabi niya sa inyo, mga advice para galingan niyo pa o ma-improve pa sa competition? Philip, alam natin, wala din games preparations at ano natin yung mga chances of winning a medal dito sa kanilang dalawa sa World Games?
The thing with Lee is she has such a great mindset, no? Sobrang focused and determined na athlete. So, we talked about her training plan. So, kausap ko rin yung coach niya here, and we decided that it's going to be a collaborative effort between the national team coaches and her coach here. Syempre, importante na nag-uusap sila. Same training program yung kay Lee. And we also plan to fly in Coach Billy and Philip here in the US for the World Games at least 2 weeks before. Para yung jet lag, maka-acclimatize, and that so they can also get a chance to train with Lee para makilala talaga nila yung galaw nila sa isa't isa, strengthen their bond, which is very important lalo na pagdating sa ring. As for the medals natin sa World Games, I'm hoping Philip can maintain his gold medal sa IFMA kasi since siya yung number 1 ngayon sa 57, we're really hoping that he can maintain that. Lalo na ngayon, Russia is not allowed to compete. So yung makakalaban niya doon won't be there at the World Games. So, I think Philip has a very, very strong chance of winning the gold. As for Lee, we are not very aware kung sino yung mga nasa 63.5 kilos na babae. So, ang assignment namin ngayon ng coaches is to scout for her competitors in that weight category para mapag-aralan na rin namin yung mga galaw nila and we can strategize.
So bukod sa SEA Games, by the way, bago yung tanongin ko yan, ito ba yung second stint ata ni Dalamino sa World Games, di ba?
Yes. So si Philip was also chosen last 2017 sa Poland.
Okay. So bukod sa SEA Games, sa World Games, is Muay Thai gonna be included in the Asian Games as well next year? Magkakaroon ba tayo ng selection process there?
We are not included in the Asian Games yet. So inaayos pa rin ng IF namin. But definitely for the IMAG next year, we are included. Magkakaroon ulit tayo ng selection nun, for sure. Every competition naman, major competition, we have our qualifying events.
Alright. Sa grassroots naman tayo. Mag-shift tayo ng attention dito. Marami kayong pinakakabalaan ng MAP grassroots program sa mga events natin since the pandemic. Nagkaroon tayo ng mga webinars sa Muay Thai All Access, yung mga basic instructor Muay Thai course. Pero ba kayong inihandang proyekto sa ngayon, lalo na sa pagpapalaganap niya ng mga courses and even yung mga technical webinars para sa mga technical officials? Ba kayo na magdaos na parang regional at national championships para sa mga batang Muay Thai fighters within this year?
Yes, Gab. Actually, we're already planning that. We are just waiting for the confirmation from the LGUs. So we plan to have the regional legs again. So we have Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and then NCR, and then the national championships in November. So sana by that time, wala ng mga alert level 1, 2, 3, and we're free to really hold the events again. But in between those times, we will continue with our Muay Thai instructor course online and in person since pwede naman na. And then we also plan to hold RJ seminars and workshops, and we have a special program for women in Muay Thai under the Women's Commission. So we'll offer scholarships to those who are interested in becoming instructors and also technical officials.
At may mga ilang chapters ng MAP na yun na bumabalik na sa face-to-face training dahil wag na mga restrictions, especially sa Luzon at sa Mindanao particularly.
Yeah. Yes, actually, I think lahat ng gyms namin are back in full operations and face-to-face, and we're very happy every time they post their updates. Ang daming nag-enroll, ang daming na talagang ulit engagement with the community, so which is good.
Kaya pala kayo pinarangalan ng IFMA na NSC of the Year last. During the pandemic, medyo tumitibay ang grassroots program natin. Nagkakaroon kayo ng programa para for both elite and for grassroots level, like yung mga pautang natin, yung strength natin, yung mga Facebook live sessions, mga webinars sa sports psychology, para maging active pa rin ang Muaythai community kahit naharap tayo sa pandemic.
Actually, Gab, to be honest, mas napagod ata kami nung pandemic kasi mas madami kaming naging programs as compared nung face-to-face. Kasi pag face-to-face, we really couldn't go full blast with our grassroots because we have limited staff, diba? And we have limited time para ating may pinagkakaabalahan na tournaments or nagpe-prepare for some international competition. So we decided nung pandemic, since we have all this downtime, we decided to act on that list na nakaupo lang dyan na matagal na namin gustong gawin. So we were able to really push through with those programs and we're happy na naging successful naman sila.
And of course, yung ating mga athletes sa Muay Thai, nabasa ko dito sa Winning Steel, by the way, ito yung hawak ko.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for supporting the book.
Oo, pero kwentuhan niyo ko yung libro mamaya. Din kayo ng mga medals sa 50-50 gender equal na medals na nakuha na dito sa Virtual World Championships 2 years ago. Kaya,
that's right.
Achieve tayo.
Yeah, so we're very thrilled when that happened kasi talagang pinupush naman natin ng women in Muay Thai ever since. And yun na nga, years of hard work, doon namin nakita na, finally, nagbunga na rin siya. Nag-50-50 na rin tayo.
Okay, kasama pa ba ang Muay Thai sa palarong pambansa? Alam ko, virtual na ata sila this year and even sa Women Martial Arts Festival ng PSC na mag-schedule din bago matapos itong panunungkulan ng PSC board natin.
Yeah, actually, we're not included in the palarong pambansa. Sa Batang Pinoy kami kasali and Philippine National Games. So for the women's martial arts last year in July, included ng Muay Thai. So we also had a lot of women participants. It was very successful. So we're grateful for sa PSC, Women in Sports ni Com Kiram na binalik nila yon kahit virtual. So hoping this year, in person na siya, pero it would be nice to still have the virtual, which we're planning to keep then, by the way, in MAP. Kahit na mag-face-to-face tayo, we'll still have the virtual championships because we recognize the limitations and resources of our participants, and mas madami pa rin nakakasali if they don't have to spend that much. For the Batang Pinoy, we already had our technical meeting. We're just waiting for the final word from PSC kung virtual ba or papayagan na rin mag-face-to-face.
At meron din tayong ipapadala natin sa World Games sa isang international technical official. Which
yes.
By the way, masasabi natin kaka-proud tayo sa mga
of course.
ITO natin.
Yes, alam mo, we were so excited when we got that letter from IFMA asking Mardel, actually nominating Mardel Claro as an ITO kasi this is our first female Filipina ITO in Muay Thai. Noong 2017, we had Coach Ed Salmina, who was also an ITO. So every World Championships or any big events for IFMA, meron parati silang pinipili na Filipino na ITO, which sobrang nakaka-proud talaga kasi it just shows the caliber of our, not only our athletes, but also our technical officials. So talagang pupush namin this year yung RJ courses namin kasi we want to develop more and more technical officials.
Okay. Bahala na siguro ang publiko para usgahan kung anong magagandang ginawa ng ngayon. Pero on your part, masasabi ba natin under your leadership, mas nagiging matatag pa ang programa natin sa Women in Sports, sa grassroots, at even sa elite? national team natin para ma-elevate natin ang level ng Muaythai, na pantayan natin yung ginawa ng mga iba pang mga kapitbahay natin sa Southeast Asia?
Yes, Gab, it's a collaborative effort. I will not take all the glory and success for the team's success now. It's a collaborative effort by everybody in the team, from the management, to the coaches, to the athletes, or grassroots coaches, everybody, all the stakeholders. Kasi sila talaga yung bumubuhay sa map eh. Sabi nga namin, if it were not for the grassroots coaches, if it were not for the volunteers, if it were not for the athletes, wala naman ang association. So I'm just thankful that our board and our coaches are very supportive of our programs, and we all have the same vision. We're headed towards the same direction, so it's very easy for us to implement these programs. Siguro nakakatulong din na babae ako, kaya talagang mas napupush yung women in sports natin, kasi ang mindset ngayon ng MAP is every time may event, every time may project, kami parating dapat may babae. If not 50%, basta dapat may babae dyan. And nakikita natin ngayon, talagang active ang babae natin sa Muaythai.
Sa inyong, lumipat naman tayo sa mga ibang aspekto outside of your job sa MAP. Sa inyong as Deputy CDM ng Team Pilipinas sa SEA Games, ano mga pinagkakabalaan ninyo ng mga meetings with regards sa mga concerns sa Team Pilipinas at sa pag-hold natin sa SEA Games? Lalo na medyo critical na yung mga natitong araw bagong SEA Games at medyo alarming ang situation natin sa Vietnam.
Yeah, so we had the latest CDM meeting last week. So they laid out the protocols, the final details of the events. I'm glad na I'm sharing the CDM ship with Common and DSG Carl, kasi they're very competent, they're very skilled sports leaders. And ang daming sports, 40 sports ang 40 NSAs ang pupunta nun. So talagang kailangan namin hatiin kasi otherwise we can't handle all of them. And it's good na ang SEA Games sa Vietnam will be scattered all throughout, different cities. Hindi lang siya concentrated in one city. So we have 4 clusters in total. So pinaghatian namin yon. So para mas matutukan talaga namin yung needs ng bawat NSA and mga athletes.
Meron ba kayong mga NSAs na tinututukan nyo as Deputy CDM? May mga updates ba on your part with regards sa mga preparations nila upon checking them?
Yeah, so my cluster is cluster 1B. So those are the sports outside Hanoi. So iikot-ikot ako doon. So I have 11 sports under cluster 1B. So we have Muay Thai there. So yeah, I keep them posted naman on the requirements or any requests that they might be needing. So far, everyone is on board and on, following their training programs, and they're ready. They're ready for the SEA Games.
Dito naman tayo sa POC as a board member. Any updates sa ngayon sa POC, especially malapit na General Assembly, pero nag-hit nga ito mga nagdaang araw kasi alam na natin yung mga nangyari, nag-suspend 90-day suspension ng POC sa Patapa at sa PILTA para ayusin yung kanyang mga conflicts nila with the international federations. And also dito naman sa National Academy of Sports na medyo buwan na rin face-to-face classes anytime soon.
Yeah, so POC Gab, so we have the General Assembly on Wednesday, like what you mentioned. So, the decisions of the board of the POC is always for the best interest of the athletes. So, syempre, you cannot please everybody. I think that's a tough job if you're in that position, but you have to really decide for to make sure that the welfare and well-being of the athletes are looked after. Sa NAS naman, we are very busy preparing for the face-to-face, lalo na yung infrastructure natin, malapit ng matapos. So we have to start retrofitting those buildings, make sure that the campus is ready by the time the classes start in September.
Okay, diretso naman ako sa makikimarites lang ako sa sunod mo naman, di ba?
Kailangan ko ba yan?
Oo, syempre. So, nagiging active ka pa rin ng inyong lifestyle nyo kahit alam ko busy ka sa mga iba't ibang ganap. Pero ang sikreto mo kung bakit minemaintain nyo ang inyong healthy lifestyle? Did you also join yung mga iba pang sports to keep yourself fit and healthy? Lalo na sa triathlon, nagiging abala ka rin sa pagsali.
Yeah. I choose sports that I enjoy doing personally. So yan, triathlon, running. I enjoy going to the gym also, lifting. It's part of my lifestyle na siguro. So parang pagkain din or pagtulog, kailangan ko siya gawin every day kahit na 30 minutes lang. So yeah, it's a habit that I was able to form like a long time ago. So that's good. It's it's keeping me healthy and kaya kong sabayan yung mga athletes. Syempre, nakakahiya pag hindi.
And you were also part nito. Ito yung libro natin, Winning Steel, book natin. So, kumusta experience na take part ka sa initiative na ikwento yung first 100 days of the pandemic during yung MWF session sa Zoom with Coach Nolly and the other guys na binuo ng Winning Steel at mga realizations nito sa pamagitan ng pagsusulat sa libro.
Yeah, when they asked me to be part of that book, I hesitated kasi, I was going through something during that time, pandemic, and it's the first 100 days, so, there's so much uncertainties. I think people were going through a lot of emotions. So, ang dami kong revisions dyan sa essay ko na yan. I think I wrote it in 4 months. With the final draft, hinabol ko talaga nung pinaka-deadliest deadline na. But it was very cathartic writing that essay kasi I was able to articulate talaga what I was going through. And it helped me realize, what's important in life talaga and what I wanted to do and what my passion in advocacy is.
Malalaman natin sa librong ito yung essay ng inyong buhay as an NSA leader, syempre.
Yes.
Pero hindi natin ipapakita yung buo. Baka mag-spoil lang ating mga viewers, syempre.
Hindi na nila basahin.
Basta kumuha na lang kayo ng libro.
Yes.
Hindi na lang kayo ng libro para makaikayat pa ang mga tao na basahin ang mga kwento ng ating mga sports leaders, sports athletes, mga athletes natin, mga coaches, kung ano makabuhay nila during the pandemic.
Yes, I agree. There's 29 writers, I believe, in that book, or 26, and they're all very valuable stories na kailangan nyo talagang basahin.
Buti na lang, magkaroon ako ng kopya.
Oh, di ba?
Sa pamamagitan, syempre, ni Coach Nolly.
Of course. If it weren't for Nolly, that book would not have been possible.
Okay, last question before we end. Ano sabi natin? Kasi malapit patapos itong Women's Month sa March. Anong masasabi natin sa naging recent success ng ating kababaihan pagdating sa sports at sa gender equality? Medyo umihigting pa sa women's empowerment. And do we see more women sports leaders in the future?
Yes, Gab, I hope so, especially with the initiative of the POC Women in Sports. When we had the workshop last year, we encouraged all the NSAs to form their own women's commission. So nagpo-workshop kami on how they can start a women's commission in their own NSAs. And we had a very good response. I believe there are a few NSAs working on their own women's commission now. Yung iba tatanong din sa akin, paano nila umpisahan, and I'm always there to help to make sure that women are represented in sports, not just as athletes, but also in the management level.
All right, Ma'am Pearl, maraming salamat. Marami akong tatanong. Medyo na tayo at medyo, sabi ni Ernest, sinunog ko ang oras.
Okay lang.
Please, nakapagtanong din ako ng iba pa mga additional questions from you. So,
sure.
And, Ma'am Pearl, anything you want to say? Thank all those supported Muaythai at sa mga patuloy pang pagsuporta natin at pag-encourage sa lahat mag-try ng Muaythai, syempre.
Well, first of all, Gab, I want to thank you for inviting me, for giving me this platform para mas madami pa tayong marating na audience, mas makilala nila ang Muay Thai, and mas makilala nila na posible pala na pwedeng kang maging successful sa sports sa isang mundo na puro lalaki ang nakikita nila. So, alongside with our women athletes who won the gold, there are a lot of women leaders in sports that you can emulate and aspire to be. And I'm lucky to be among them. Sila Karen, sila Jersil, sila Bongku, there's Akiko, there's Ada, there's Lan. There's so many of us in sports that are excelling kahit na babae kami. And we're hoping that there are more people, more women who can be involved. There are many pathways in sports. Hindi lang naman pagiging atleta yan. So if you really want to get involved, you can get involved. Just contact your NSA or yung sport na gusto nyo. I think the most important thing to do is to get your feet wet. Just try it first. Subukan nyo lang. And you'll fall in love with that sport. So please try Muay Thai. Madami kaming gyms all over the country. You can check out our Facebook page, Muaythai Association of the Philippines. Nandun lahat ng listahan ng mga gyms namin, coaches namin, and kung saan kayo pwede magpaturo.
Siyempre, marami mga sports leaders na nakilala natin. At ikaw isa sa mga alimbawa ng matitibay ang puso para sa mga atleta. At siyempre, si Ma'am Cynthia din.
Yes.
Si Becky Garcia, si Teresita Uy, Johnny Go dati, si Mike Kuwangko, and of course, si Commissioner Cecilia Kiram. Saludo po tayo sa kanila dahil sa kanilang dedication para sa women empowerment at para mas lalo pang ipalaganap ang women in sports, syempre.
I agree, Gab. So you mentioned the big names, but aside from the big names, there are also a lot of women who are working behind the scenes that really make things happen. So maraming salamat din sa kanila.
And with that, magkita tayo pag balik mo sa Manila at marami tayo.
Yes, for sure. Of course. Salamat. Always a pleasure.
Sige, salamat po. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gab. Thank you. Ingat.
Thank you.